Do you want to do the intro?
No.
Every time. It's fantastic.
Oh.
You'll all notice, in an effort because of the heat, I'm actually wearing a white t-shirt today.
Good effort.
Yeah, it's not fucking out though. I'm still sweating my ass off. A white t-shirt, pyjama bottoms on because they're a bit cooler than anything else I own.
Hi, again. Welcome to the Pacifist podcast. We got Sam and Jeeves with us today. Zach's again quite busy. He will come back. He will be back again at some point. Tonight we are all very swampy because it is roasting. I mean, you can see the state of Jeeves down there. Sam's spritzing himself with water. That's what it's come to. But we are going to forge on. We're going to forge on, if we can, and talk about the paranormal.
I just sprayed it in my eyeball.
Interspersed with the usual stupidity.
The paranormal. Ooh.
I thought, as far as an intro goes, that was actually not too bad. And then you fucking squirted shit in your eye at the end of it. I don't know why I bother. We should just let Jeeves do it every time.
Did he not do that one? Perfect. 1 point to you, Mushu.
Yeah, so the paranormal. And I think this might drag on a bit, this one. Because despite you saying you've done no research into this whatsoever, Sam, the fields of paranormal are so massive. I mean, you've got the obvious ghosts, ghoulies, phantoms, spirits,
Ghoulies.
blah blah blah. I'm not
Like a
talking
Willy.
about bollocks. Oh.
Shut up.
It's hard getting anything done around here. Yeah, but you've also got things like cryptozoology, like mythological history.
What's cryptozoology, Mushu?
Cryptozoology is the study of creatures outside of the norm, genetic mutations, creatures that are sort of legendary, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. Bigfoot made it into my minimal research this morning.
Well, there we go. And then you've also got, technically the paranormal. A lot of people will moan at me about this, but I think it does. The paranormal, you're looking at aliens as well, I would say. Paranormal meaning just like anything other than the ordinary. So,
okay.
That's my take on it.
Like, this could be one that drags on. My problem was we decided on talking about this earlier today, and normally I like to maybe listen to a couple of podcasts, do a little bit of research, so that way I'm sort of confidently informed, even though what I say is total bullshit. And today I type in paranormal activity, and all that did was just bring up a film that gave me fucking nightmares. That first one, that shit me up like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that was quite a good film actually, as far as representations of paranormal stuff go. That was pretty good.
I'm glad it came out in the winter. I mean, I did. No.
Sorry, I was just going to say. I mean, with your lack of preparation, though, I'm sure you must have taken some notes, haven't you?
I have, on this piece of paper here.
What?
Not in a little girl's book, that's for sure.
I saw your notebook earlier, and it was shameful. Look at that.
My 6-year-old daughter. She
So,
very kindly gave it to me.
To fire off,
dressed like Jesus now.
I know, it's brilliant. He's so cute, isn't he?
He's Matt of Nazareth. Is it Nazareth? Nazareth.
Nazareth, I think.
Look, careful, now you're being racial.
Yeah, come on.
We're trying not to go down the political lines.
Cultural appropriation and all that.
Yeah.
The question that, and we were thinking about doing this when it was just us two, weren't we, Sam? But we decided that Jesus needs to be part of this one. And the
100%.
question that I am just burning to ask you, Jeeves, the overriding one, and I've been so careful not to ask you this off air. Do you believe in it?
Yes.
Okay, just everything paranormal, or just like, do you believe Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in the Loch Ness Monster? Do you what are your thoughts?
I believe to a certain extent with a lot of things, but I do also think that some of it is you see what if you have something in your head over and over and over again, at some point you're going to see it because your brain will implement that straight there.
Auto-suggestion.
Yeah.
Yes, that's like the faces on Mars, isn't it?
Yeah.
People are predispositioned to see faces and things because we see faces all day, every day.
Any simulacra, you look, things like trees making faces, cloud shapes is a classic one. Some people can pick out cloud shapes like that. Other people just cannot see it for toffee. Because maybe that's because what Jesus is saying. Some people are wanting to see a shape.
See what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has someone go, "Oh, doesn't that cloud look like a crocodile?" And you're like, "Not really. No, it's just a general turd shape." But you have to nod and go along because they're being kind of kooky about it.
Shape, really. No, that's interesting. So Jeeves, you're a believer in all things paranormal, or specifically just ghosts?
I believe that some sort of essence of you stays here, and it's not just the body.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
whether or not they actually have the physical power to interact with this plane or realm or whatever you want to call it, is that I've still yet to be believable.
What about what about heaven and hell? I'm leading somewhere with this, by the way. Bear with me.
That not so much.
Okay.
Because that to me personally, that's more a religious representation of where you would go. If you know
100%. That's exactly what it is. What about then if everybody leaves a little bit of themselves behind? How many people are on the earth at the moment? Was it
8.5 billion?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And we've been kicking it for, let's be generous, we'll say 100,000 years. The ghost world must be fucking crowded, super crowded. If everybody's leaving a little bit behind.
Yeah.
No.
But then you have.
I think it all depends on how you sort of go. If you know what I mean. Like, if you used to go in a traumatic way, then I think you're more likely to leave something behind than you would, say, if you used to die peacefully in your bed.
Oh no, fair enough.
The end was coming and stuff like that. Because you always get these like cold spots and stuff like that. Now, I don't have any.
Not today, you fucking don't, do you? There's no cold spots.
No, I don't. Jesus Christ. But 9 times out of 10, every time I've seen anyone talking about it or anything like that, there's always something horrific that's happened in that area.
Yeah.
But then a skeptic would say that could be auto-suggestion as well. Because if you've got a castle which has endured hundreds of years of peace, and then suddenly one of the gardeners gets his head caved in with a mace or something, people are going to pick up on that. If anything strange happens, well, someone did die here like 97 years ago, because the story's already in place. That in itself is a form of auto-suggestion, which people pick up on subconsciously. And, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it could account for part of it.
Okay, what about you, Mishu? Are you a believer? Well, I say we stick with ghosts on this because that seems to be what Jeeves was talking about.
Yeah, I'm happy to go with that for a minute.
Andy definitely believes in another realm of existence because his arsehole opens it every day.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Yeah, but this is something else.
I believe in hell just from his arse.
Ghosts and stuff, no.
No?
No, I'd like to. I think I really like the idea. But generally, in terms of the evidence I've ever seen supporting them and the evidence I've seen going against them, I'm not convinced.
You bastard.
I wouldn't say to anyone that you're wrong if they say I believe in ghosts. I wouldn't say, well, there's definitely no such thing, but I'd say I haven't seen any proof of it yet.
Well, you've made it. There's no point in asking me, because that is literally word for word my fucking answer. I'd like to believe, but I've seen no evidence to suggest that it's true. I've spoken to many people who are probably weaker minded than myself, who do 100% believe in them. But show me some proof. I mean, creaky houses, changes in temperature, cats, they tend to answer all of the questions.
I'll take a change of temperature right now.
Oh, well, so would I.
Jesus is just praying to be haunted. Come on. I live in an attic, for fuck's sake.
I'm talking about like those hokey, like martial artists who are like, you can focus the energy and we come on, everybody focus together and we can make these.
Oh, are you on about chi?
Chi, something like that. Yeah, that's slightly paranormal, isn't it?
Mastering your chi. It's your inner energy.
Yeah, well, I listened to a very compelling episode of Rogan with a guy called Banachek on it. Have you heard of him?
I have, actually. Why have I? He sounds like an 80s cop show.
I think in the 80s he was spanking it up. So he's a mentalist, which is like Uri Geller.
Right, yeah.
He's not a magician. He's not a magicianist. He's not a magicianist. Fuck's sakes, this heat. Honestly, I got a fan and I'm fanning myself with a fly swatter. It's that bad. He was saying how they used to fuck with people trying to prove that the paranormal was real because he was so good at his craft, like bending nails, putting suggestive thoughts into people's heads, all of that sort of stuff. And he said once him and some cronies had like a haunted house experience. And the people who got off the coach were so suggestible. He pulled his team aside and he's like, don't worry about any of the props. Don't worry about any of the shit that we've got lined up. We can fuck with these guys just by, the power of our minds, suggestive thoughts and that sort of stuff. And hearing that, it just enforced that whole, it's bullshit. I love the idea. I think it'd be fantastic. And there's so much stuff that I wouldn't be able to explain if I was put into that situation. But thus far, I've lived in a lot of creepy old houses and I've not had any ghosts try and shag me in my sleep.
Well, is that what you sort of quantify as a haunting? if there's no penetration, I've not been haunted.
Yeah. Is that not what ghosts do?
Not to everyone, I don't think, mate.
Oh, maybe I have been haunted then. Shit being moved around and you don't know anything about it. That's normal, right?
We need to clear this up before I start eating you. Because I don't want to get poked by any ghost boner or anything like that.
Oh, you're not going to be poked by any ghost boners?
Well, hopefully not.
Well, if you fucking eat me, I will. Sorry, I misunderstood what you meant. Whoever eats it is getting it. Ghost style.
I think Jeeves got the lower half, hasn't he?
Oh, maybe. We're not talking about that anymore, though.
No, we're not. Yeah, why are there no famous ghosts either? Are there famous ghosts? Do we see famous ghosts? Like, not famous for being ghosts, but like...
what, like Deminsy Porpington himself off of That's Nearly Headless Nick for you non-Harry Potter fans.
But
Owning Myrtle.
Yeah, no, like JFK or something like that. These people are high profile. If ever there was someone that needed to come back as a ghost,
JFK just haunts every single convertible in the world.
Well, you'd make an effort to get a message across, wouldn't you? They've got otherworldly knowledge and stuff like that.
Or they're just sort of stuck where they died. So he's stuck on a fucking junction in Texas.
Or like an infinite loop or something.
Yeah, well, like, yeah. I've always imagined that if ghosts are real, that it's a bit like in Beetlejuice, and you're sort of stuck in the house that you're in, or the place you died. However, I don't believe them, so...
But there is a
suggestion. Yeah.
There is. Well, I mean, if you think about it scientifically, I mean, your brain is energy, isn't it?
Yes.
It's just tiny little sparks of energy going between different synapses, blah blah blah, which create a thought, which create movement and stuff, blah blah.
Yes.
It's fairly. I think it's scientific fact that energy doesn't die; it just transfers.
Yeah.
Energy doesn't go anywhere; it just
Yeah.
turns into a different form of energy. So therefore, when you die and your brain stops firing, that energy is going to go somewhere. It's going to be transformed into another energy because it can't die.
Yeah, this is what I was on about.
Or it gets used up like a battery. Your battery dies, that's energy. It gets used up, you use it, you sap it dry, it ends up as nothing. It's just an empty shell of what it was before. And you die, and the remaining energy that you've got goes into your body breaking down and decomposing. Or fueling the fire of a, what's a crematorium? Yeah, a crematorium is what a crematorium is. What's the place where you go to get burned called? A what's it, my jobby?
Jesus' attic, by the look of it.
Yeah, by the look of it.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be tethered to one spot, though, wouldn't you? Because otherwise, it would be. I mean, I don't mean to bring this up, but look at the Kevin Costner film Waterworld, right? And think about that. If you, I love you, Kevin. If you died, I know, but it is a relevant point. If you died and you're just stuck, and like, say I died right here, and I'm stuck in this sort of area here.
Yeah.
At one point in Waterworld, that would all be underwater. That'd be shit. I mean, as far as a ghost goes, what happens when the Earth breaks up and stuff like that? You're just floating in space. It would be shit. Oh,
James, 1 point to you. It's because you mentioned water and you don't like swimming.
Oh, he's probably thinking about eating fish, isn't he?
Yeah, probably. Mate, like you, I've got no proof. I've not experienced any. I've not been on any ghost walks. I've been to some creepy places, and I've had some strange feelings. You know, that feeling like when you feel like you're being watched.
Yeah.
But I also used to go to Catholic school, so I mean, yeah, predators are rife.
Yeah, it's probably just that built-in sixth sense, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Watch back.
But there's another point. The senses. You know, I think they tie very heavily into the paranormal thing because, like, we have 5 senses, yeah. And the reason we have,
yeah,
and the reason we have those is because we have the necessary organs to appreciate them. We have sight because we have eyes, we can see. We have sound because we have ears, we can hear. We have smell because of the nose, taste. We have touch, yeah.
Yeah.
What's to say that there's not many more senses out there?
Yeah, that we don't use. That
we just don't have the necessary stuff. You know, like why do cats and dogs always sense the paranormal?
Oh, now you see, this is it. Is the animal aspect is the closest I've seen to proof. You know, like when cats I'm a cat person. I love cats. They're fucking brilliant. But they are creepy little motherfuckers at times as well.
Yeah.
When they're sort of staring, leering at nothing, pouring out the fucking air. That always makes me wonder. And then I found out about catnip, and I assume they're just high as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, you see cats on catnip, and they just look fucked.
Yeah,
but good fucked.
Yeah, I remember when my cat lost his tail, and he was all high up on cat morphine or whatever the fucking hell they gave him, and he literally for about 2 hours jumped in a box and then stared at the wall of the box. We're like, "You're right, Spartacus. Do you want to get out?" That's my impression of a cat.
It was very good.
Yeah. It was just what it was like. He said that he had a bare ass. Oh,
I'm glad you didn't go all out with the impression.
I know I couldn't. I'd have to shave it. Oh, hang on, I've dropped my fly swatter.
But you're right. Animals are the one point where, you know, that's where it gets tricky to explain. You know, in my history of jobs, I was a police officer.
Butcher.
in
Baker.
London, and there were parts of London, or there was one alleyway specifically in London. I'm not going to say where it is.
Right.
That well, it's very no. I'm not going to say where it is. But I've seen trained police dogs refuse to go down there. Flat out refuse to go down there.
That's weird. It could also smell like big dog piss.
Yeah, but bear in mind these are sort of GDP, like big Alsatian things or whatever. They're the proper land shark ones. There's not a lot of dogs that get a lot bigger.
Okay.
But and that sort of creeped me out. Not going to lie, I certainly never went down there on my own. But that's what I mean. You see, I don't believe in ghosts, but I am kind of nervous of them.
Yeah,
I will get creeped out quite easily in places. You can have loads of little ghost flies going.
I think I got the cup as well.
Yeah.
Side note, the humble fly swatter. It's a fucking brilliant design, people. It's absolutely. I've been nailing them, absolutely nailing them. Apart from that one, of course, he's escaped the net. Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you. We'll I don't know.
Sorry to. I want to know the name of this alley. Go on, tell us the name of this road.
I can't remember the name of the alley. To be fair, it was. It's just behind the Old Bailey.
Oh, okay. So there's probably been a load of like people beaten to death by corrupt coppers.
Well, rumour has it that it was the alleyway that was used to convey condemned prisoners from court to the gallows.
Okay.
Because I believe they used to have a gallows out the back. But then again, that's the rumour, But this is where the auto-suggestion shit falls down. Hi, Jeeves. Is that you could say that I found it creepy because of auto-suggestion. I've been told that dead people used to sort of be led up there, blah, blah, blah. But the dogs can't be told that. So why don't they want to go up there,
Yeah, it's strange. It's very strange. So I'm currently listening to Under the Dome by Stephen King. For everybody out there, I have previously read it, but it's a massive fucking book, and Audible makes life a lot easier. Anyway, in it, there's a whole chapter where it's from a dog's perspective, and in that dog's perspective, this dog has just heard what he calls a dead voice from somebody who had been previously murdered, trying to get, like, somebody had lost a file. Don't worry, you don't need to know the story. But this dog, while he's looking for some popcorn, it's oddly specific, hears this voice and it's like, take that file out. And he's like, no, I want the popcorn. And he eats the popcorn. Hey, look, Butterking's popcorn. Very good. Yeah, no, look, it's just funny you should have mentioned the dogs. That literally the last chapter I just listened to was talking about ghosts and the dead voices that animals can actually hear. But yeah,
spooky.
It's super spooky. And they say we only use, what is it, like 10% of our brain capacity?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
12 if you're Jesus.
12 if you're Jesus. Yeah, that's because he sees ghosts.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a paranormal experience, James? Have you ever seen a ghost or been anywhere where someone touched you inappropriately? You have. Oh, I definitely want to hear this. Let's go.
Especially while you're eating Monster Munch.
Yeah, obviously while you're eating.
I'm not talking about it.
Oh, fuck off! Come on.
No.
You can change the names of the people and the places. That way, it's complete anonymity.
Put a towel over your head and use Moosh's voice changer.
I've got the voice changer on it.
Yeah, go on, use the voice changer and turn your lights off. You can be like a witness report.
No, it's too personal.
Oh no! I've just worked out what's happened. Sam, you put your foot right in it. Did you get ghost bummed? See, and there's you joking about it, Sam. It has real victims. Oh, so is that? But Jeeves, all right. Without going into details, then is that your one and only paranormal experience?
Yes.
Right. And the reason you don't want to go into it, you say it's too personal. Is it still a source of sort of horror for you, like terror or whatever?
No. It's,
oh, right.
I'd quite happily talk to it about it, but not for it to go on the internet.
No, that's
Why
fine.
not?
That's fine. No, that's fine. If it's too personal for the internet, we won't pry.
No, we will. Why? Come on, jeez. Come on, this is good. Oh, I'm so intrigued. I just want to know about it now. I bet everybody does.
You're just trying to claw back points.
Everybody loves a good ghost story, Jeeves. We haven't got any because we're boring cynics.
I've got a couple of bits.
Well, you just said you don't link, so yours are obviously bullshit. You were just high.
I mean, yeah, I'm completely discounting the sort of like 19, 20, 21, 22 era because I'm pretty sure none of that shit happened.
It seems in every single thing that I looked up earlier, which again I didn't spend a long time doing, the 70s. The 70s was the time for ghosts. Everybody
no
in the
shit.
70s did house. Oh dear. Come on, James. Can we play 20 questions with you? Can we play 20 questions about it?
No.
Oh, man. Was that one of the questions?
Does that mean we've only got 19 now? Oh, was that another one?
Now.
Oh, no. Is that another one? Oh.
Did they hurt you?
No.
Did you soil yourself?
No.
Can I ask what sort of supernatural experience it was? Like, was it a full-bodied apparition? Was it something moving? Was it a voice?
I'll quite happily tell you, but I don't want it on the internet.
Well, don't tell us now then, because we're still recording. Right, we could spend the whole night arguing with Jesus, or we could go on then, Sam. Have you?
No, of course, fucking haven't.
So not even when you were a kid, you didn't have even when you were a kid, you think you can explain it, but
there was one time when I lived in Newport. My old dad was out in America. I was 13 years old. My brother was maybe 15. We were living in this house on our own, which I'm pretty sure is illegal now. And I remember going upstairs to my bedroom. It's a very, very small house, very small landing. There's a bathroom, then there's 2 bedroom doors, and then mine was on the end. So the landing would have been maybe 2 meters long. Now, I remember walking past my mum's door and it being open, going into my bedroom, and these doors are all was just at a right angle to it. So it was open. I go into my bedroom. I walk out, I literally take a step out, and that door is closed. So I walk back into my bedroom and I grab my BB gun and I run downstairs and I shit my pants. I didn't go to the toilet. I waited until my brother got home. I'm scared. I'm only 13 years old, and I'm like, I think someone's in the house. And, he's a ballsy 15-year-old. So he goes and grabs a tonfa. Great weapon, in case anyone's wondering. Probably my favourite personal defence item that I own. And he goes in and into my mum's room, because the door's still shut, and comes back downstairs and proceeds to just call me a fucking cunt or an idiot or something like that, because there's nobody in the house. That's the closest I can get. But I have zero proof that the door was open in the first place. I've just literally, I thought it was open. Was it open? Was it closed? I don't know. I didn't hear it closed. It's a very rickety, creaky house. That's the closest I've ever got. And I thought it was a human, not a ghost. And I'm not worried anymore. Shut up, Siri. Fucking hell. That's the closest I've ever got. And yeah, it's quite embarrassing. But as I say, I sat downstairs with my BB gun and I just literally shat myself for about 6 hours. He was out drinking and chasing Poontang, I reckon. Whereas I was just there watching Tank Girl and The Craze, the original one with Martin Kemp.
Yeah. Right, so I've got one that happened to me and one that I believe.
Okay.
Right. The one that happened to me was when I was a lot younger. In the last year of high school, I would have been about, 14, 15, something like that?
Maybe.
I guess.
17? I thought high school went up to 18.
This is back in my day, mate. We were in the chalk mines by 18.
15 then.
Yeah. But I went on a field trip to Derbyshire. Okay. Right. And the dorm block we stayed in was a big, long corridor with, the dormitories all down it. And me and my 3 mates were in the very end dorm.
Yeah.
And I remember having to go up because I was the last one to pick up my bag on the last day. and I ran up, and everyone had left. And so I ran down this corridor, grabbed my rucksack. As I'm coming back out, I've got to the end of the corridor and felt like I needed to look back, and a couple of the doors slammed as I've looked back, and I was like, fuck that. And I went. When I think about it, it still terrifies me, even though I could, I don't know that any windows weren't open. And all it needs is one gust of wind, and it can slam a couple of doors.
You've triggered a memory for me. Carry on.
Okay, good. I've got the other thing. It's been a little while now. It's been a good few years, and it's a well-known fact that when you remember stuff, you don't remember it. You make it up the same way every time. And as such, as you get older, you make it up slightly differently as to how it is. And I remember the childhood feeling of terror is my head just adding little details to fuel that terror. I don't know. But
like the clawed hand that pulled round the door to pull it shut.
Yeah, that's it. The big dark apparition at the end of the hallway.
Screaming, Mushu.
Yeah.
Soul.
Yeah. So that's my sort of closest experience, I would say. The other story I wanted to say was a story from work with two of the cleaners, and I'll explain why I believe this at the end.
You just remind me of another one actually.
Yeah, so they're working in different rooms. We've got a smaller restaurant area, and then we've got a big show bar. And one was the lady was in the show bar, the bloke was in the smaller restaurant bar. He's heard something, right? And I'm telling it as he told me. He's heard a noise like someone dropping a coin or something. He's turned around, and on the bottom, he's seen. Rambo's here. He's seen a nameplate. The plates that go around keyholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's seen one of them just lying on the floor. Ooh. Right. So he's picked it up, obviously a little bit freaked out, put it on the table. Hey, Rambo.
Evening, Rambo.
How the devil are you all?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yeah, I'm just regaling a tale from work, actually, mate.
Good.
Yeah, so he's placed it on the table, gone next door into the big bar to speak to the female, and said, "Have you just been through in the restaurant?" And she was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, come and look at this. It's really weird." As they've gone through, the thing's no longer on the table.
Yeah.
And after a bit of looking around for it, they found it resting upright on the skirting board, like balanced on the skirting board next to the door to the back area. Right. And then he's come up to me and told me it, right? The reason I inclined to believe him is that one, he was shitting it. He was genuinely quite scared. And two, the story just makes no sense. If you were going to make up some kind of scary story, that makes no sense. Why would it be on the skirting board and all that sort of thing? It doesn't smack of being a lie. And three, Rambo's joined in time for this. Zach, you can, and Jeeves actually, you can just clarify just how fucking creepy that building is at night.
Very fucking creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taken me 7 years, and I still fucking hate going in there at night time.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen a lot of weird stuff in there working nights. Like I've heard the sound system turn itself on. Like 3 o'clock in the morning, we've all heard footsteps up and down because our security office is above the main area. Yeah. You can hear the footsteps going up and down the ramp underneath.
Have you not thought about setting up some cameras, some like heat cameras and stuff, just to see? Would you rather not know?
Just live with it now, don't you? It doesn't even strike me as weird when I hear it. You just sort of like brush it aside. It's strange, but Zach's had it in there, haven't you?
Yeah, I was just about to say. So this is my office. There's a wooden.
We can't see nothing, mate.
Or yeah, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can now.
Wooden floor.
Yeah.
Sofa, sleep. In the winter, fucking must have been 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Only person here, and my eyes were getting a bit heavy. I was falling asleep, and someone the noise of someone walked through the office, through the wooden floor, and just stopped. Right? There was no one there. I can't explain it, but someone walked through that bit of the office there.
Mad, absolutely mad. So we're talking ghosts, Rambo.
I gathered.
What's your take on it? Do you believe or not? Have you had any experiences aside from the one that you've clearly had an experience?
Do I believe? Some weird shit happens.
I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good sum up of it all. Weird shit happens.
It really does.
So I'll take yes then, mate.
Sorry?
I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. There's obviously something.
Okay, no, fair enough. Okay. Do you guys know the history of that building at all?
Used to be a farm, I believe. There's all the associated stories of someone hanging themselves in a barn in it. Not verified by any fact whatsoever.
Oh, like any of this podcast ever is. So
it pretty much happened. Definitely happened.
It definitely happened. So do you reckon that those steps are him walking 1 step, 2 step, 3 step up onto a stool, and then it stops because he kicks the stool over and he...
Yeah, because would you hear the stool? 'Cause you don't get ghost stools, do you?
Nah. None of objects don't come back as ghosts. That's mental.
Not even if they're part of the haunting, like.
Maybe. I suppose the Ghost of Christmas Past or whatever, he had his chains, but I think they were put on by someone, didn't they? The Charles Dickens thing.
Because the thing is, you're asking a difficult question here. Because where does our humanity, our soul, live? Because like, if it's in our head, in our brain, then in theory, all these headless ghosts should just be a ghost head, rather than a body with no head.
You're asking the wrong person here. I've not had the experiences you boys have had, I'm afraid.
I've actually had one experience, which
You're not talking about
the sister site. I helped the bar supervisor at the time wipe all the tables, put all the chairs underneath and everything like that.
Yeah.
Stood out at the back of the bar chatting while he was finishing up what he needed to do. About 10 minutes later, walked back out and
wipe your mouth off.
No, half the tables had their chairs pulled back out.
That would freak me out.
We both looked at each other. Nope, we're out. Just went straight out the exit.
That's the sort of haunting I like, just the being a dick because you can sort, like it achieves nothing, does it? Pulling your chair out, but fuck it, I'm just going to do it just to mess around with people, mess with their heads. Like the one in Poltergeist, you know the original Poltergeist where she turns around and the chairs are all in a pyramid, and it's fucking ridiculous, but that would scare the shit out of you, wouldn't it?
It's the cupboards opening and closing, isn't it? Like they always do that in movies, and you're there and it's fine, and the camera pans around and they're boom, 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 boom. Ugh. Oh, I don't like it.
A couple of nights later, the same supervisor was telling me that when he was finishing up, he was going through one section because it was split up into 3, and he could hear voices. So he's turned around, gone back to the bar, and picked up the little knife that they used to cut the fruit. And he's gone back through, and it turns out someone had left the TV on a documentary.
I bet he's shanked the TV.
He said, I've gone through there, and I was like, if anyone's here, I'm going to stab you. And then, it turned out it was the TV.
But that's the thing as well, isn't it? Like misinterpretation of sounds, like that sort of thing. It's easy. Like you'll know, and I know, Sam, from living in somewhere with thin walls. Sorry. Oh, that's that gone again. Living somewhere with thin walls, you pick up voices from outside really easily, and sometimes they do sound like they're just disembodied coming from in the room or whatever. If you've ever heard of foxes screaming,
Oh my God, man! they
Very
make some
much like a woman being attacked or something.
Every
Yeah.
other night over the road from me.
Yeah, and I
woman
mean,
being attacked, and it's usually you doing it, isn't it, Jeeps? The foxes are just
It's
watching.
opposite.
The foxes are just eating your monster munch. They're just there.
oh,
Is that pickled onion flavour?
it's the only flavour worth having.
No, it's not. Hot and spicy, the red packet.
No,
Oh, hot
disagree.
and spicy win.
Yeah,
Oh.
absolutely agree, Jeeves. Well done.
No, pass. Yeah, so anyway, you've beef. Nice. Good choice. You reminded me when you were telling me about that. So again, when I was 13, so
Yeah.
it turns out I was at my biggest pussy stage when I was 13. I went to a public school and I didn't board. I went to one of the day houses, which is just a normal school. But it was a place where we hung out between lessons and lunch breaks, and we had changing rooms, chats. We had little rooms where we could do homework and stuff. And the housemaster there didn't live on site because he had a place nearby, but I lived in the building that was attached to it, which was the hospital, which was called the sanatorium of all fucking things. And he used to give me £1 a week. It was that long ago. Every day at 6 o'clock, once everybody had left, to go through the building and make sure all the lights were turned off. Fuck me, if that wasn't the creepiest bloody thing I've ever done. I used to go through the fire door on the top floor, which linked into ours. I had the key for that. And yeah, I used to have to walk through the whole thing, and half of it would be dark anyway in the first place. And this is like a building from like 1800 or something like that, going through into the changing rooms and then into every room to make sure every single light was turned off. That was probably the creepiest experiences of my life. Genuinely get to the point where I would literally be running to the fire door at the end just to get back into the flat where I could lock the door and be safe.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah, it wasn't so much that I ever experienced anything, but being alone in a big, rickety, creepy old school building where God knows how many people have been bummed to death.
I once got lost in the basements of St Bartholomew's Hospital in London, one of the oldest hospitals there, and it's like a labyrinth down there. It's really hot because you got the boilers down there, and I got proper lost and I shit it. I literally needed a fucking full colonoscopy after that.
Oof. Yeah, not good. Not good at all. I'd find that very worrying. And we're back again.
Well, you just did. Clever editing, you can just do that. Spritzing yourself, man. Jesus, just eating raw flesh. God, what have we reduced ourselves to?
Brother nature.
Brother nature.
Oh no. You went up the nose.
I mean, that in itself should be classified as fucking paranormal, man. What the fuck?
No.
Who sneezes like that? You know that cat?
Girl.
Please put that in.
Okay, for you, I'll leave it in. Sorry, people. I have a strange sneeze. Oh, God.
Do it again. Do it again.
Trying to style it at the end.
Trying to stop it, you bastards.
Oh, God. Right, so we still haven't got Rambo back at the minute. What were we talking about?
Ghosts.
Well,
sneezes.
Yeah. Well, it's probably an appropriate time to say that, as always, we're interested in hearing stuff. So if you've got any kind of ghost story or anything along those lines, anything that you think paranormal might have happened to you, any proof you want to offer for one side of the argument or the other, please comment and stick it in a message, something like that. Just let us know, because I am genuinely interested to know.
Some proof would be absolutely amazing. Our email is always open. That's thepacifistpodcast@outlook.com. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yes, every time. Nailing this shit. Yeah, so feel free if you've got any pictures of your ghoulie. No, not your ghoulies. You go.
It will get uploaded to our OnlyFans page.
Yeah. Send them over, and we will happily display them and discuss them, and that sort of shit. But yeah, we're genuinely interested to see what people think about it, because currently I'm really the only skeptic here. These guys have all had paranormal experiences, and I have not. Not that I particularly want any. I'm not inviting any. I don't want to do a Ouija board or anything. I'm not going to tempt fate. I'm not going to go to a mirror and say Candyman 3 times or any of that sort of shit.
Okay, all right. So you're superstitious rather than believing in the supernatural, you'd say?
I just like to think I'm cautious. Yeah, I'm not going to poke a bear either.
No, but bears are tangible, and we know they exist, and we know what will happen if we poke a bear.
Shall I just a mirror, right? You can see it just there. Shall I go say Candyman 3 times? And if I'm dead and this is the last thing that we do,
well, no, because I've seen enough horror films to know that me and him will get sucked into it as well.
Candyman 2020.
Oh yeah, I could do without that, mate. I'm too fat to run away all the time. It'd be the worst Candyman ever. It's like, I am the Candyman. Why aren't you running?
He's got a hook, though.
Just crack on, man.
Yeah.
Although, am I wrong in thinking that the bees are very much to do with him?
Something to do with it. I remember watching it as a kid, but I can't really remember it. All I remember is that it was quite creepy.
Because maybe my aforementioned army of wasps might come in handy.
Yeah, go on, summon a wasp.
Well, I can't just do it on will.
I thought that was your power.
Yeah, I have to be in the right circumstances.
What, near a wasp's nest and covered in sugar?
Slathered in honey. Yeah.
God, having killed one of his brethren. Right, what have I got written down here about this? Oh, I went down the line of films that are based on true stories.
Okay.
Which would be things like Amityville Horror, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
I've got The Conjuring written down here.
Annabelle, that whole side of this thing.
Yeah, The Conjuring links into the Annabelle movies and all of that altogether. It was the Peroni family.
Mm.
I just dropped my cooling spray on my toe. Didn't make me sneeze though, so I suppose there's no bad thing. And I still have the cap in hand.
Oh.
Candyman was fed to bees.
There we go. Okay. Maybe this is my supernatural sort of future. Is that I'm going to be devoured by wasps and come back as, like, I don't know, lard man or something.
Lard man.
He was brutally beaten, mutilated, and fed to bees by having honey smeared on his body for a forbidden interracial love affair.
Oh. And now that's the rage. Everybody loves a bit of interracial loving. Ah, man, it was a bad, dark time in the olden days, wasn't it?
I suppose it depends where you were.
Well, true. Everywhere.
So obviously there are films. Now, this is one thing that kind of links in with what I was saying earlier, is that, like, the more the story gets out there, the more sort of twisted it is. And Hollywood is a perfect example of people applying artistic license to something just on an exaggerated scale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously
based on true events.
Yeah. Loosely based.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to do a lot to make it based on something. So, no. I mean, a lot of it can be artistic license. I mean, I've read accounts from the Annabelle doll. I've seen pictures of the original doll and stuff like that. I have looked into it, and, you know, there is quite a lot of creepy shit that went on with that doll. But I just don't know that in today's day and age, if it happened today, science might be able to explain some of that, a fair bit of that away. But obviously Hollywood's made it into a really successful film. And now there's a lot of people out there that will be afraid of dolls.
Yeah, it's like I hate clowns because of that fucking, because of Stephen King's It. Yeah, that still gets me now. And as I say, Paranormal Activity. That, I did not sleep properly for like a week after that, because it was all... Oh, has he taken his top off? Oh, no, he hasn't. It was all all the creepy shit happened while people were sleeping, and that's when you're meant to be your most safe, isn't it? It was like when oh, there he is. One for the ladies.
Crikey, leave some women for us, Jeeves.
Yeah, you're getting his leftovers now. Yeah, it was that scene when there's like a footprint in some talcum powder, and then the guy just gets lifted out of bed while he's sleeping. No. Didn't like that at all. Didn't like that at all.
I watched Paranormal Activity, and then like 5 minutes after it finished, went to sleep.
We want fucking metal.
That was a story and a half, mate. That's one for the grandkids, isn't it?
I did do once. Is it the Ring? Not the Ring.
Oh no!
What's the one with the little Asian kid?
The Grudge.
The Grudge. The one that does the that sort of noise. I sat there in complete silence for 20 minutes, then did that noise, put my phone under the bed. When when she went to the bathroom, I pressed play. When I heard her coming back, we laid there. Just as she was about to drift off, the noise started. She shit herself.
No wonder she's all right.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I was like, she dodged the bullet, mate.
That didn't end the relationship.
Really? God.
Really?
Oh God, we can't go into things that have ended Jeeves' relationship because that's an episode in itself.
Yeah, well, that'll probably be incriminated and end up in prison.
Please, a series.
A series, yeah. Yeah. So what have I got there? Amityville Horror is quite an interesting one. Again, all of this was in the 70s, 1974. What's it say? Ronald the Butcher Defoe Jr. killed his family. That's 2 brothers, 2 sisters, his mum and his dad. Okay, and then 2 years later, the house that he did that in, some other people bought it. George and Kathy Lutz, in case you were wondering. They bought the house and they claimed paranormal shit was happening all the time. Green slime from walls, creatures with red eyes, and levitating family members within their bed. And obviously, then that whole... I assume you've all seen Amityville Horror, the movies. They've done a couple of them over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, again, based on a true story. I think the murder aspect of it, of the Roland Defoe Jr., I think that definitely happened. You know, the other people claimed it did. But, I mean, you buy a house where there's been a grisly murder, because you've got a say about that, haven't you? I know some states in America you don't, but as a whole, if somebody was...
I don't know about back then, but you do. Yeah, nowadays they have to state if there was a killing in the house within a certain amount of time. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you can't say if somebody just died. I mean, if they died in their sleep, I think most houses somebody has died in their sleep at some point, especially old ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, when there was like a grisly murder or something, apparently you've got to mention it. First I sneeze, then I hiccup. What's next? Crying?
Yeah. So if you're looking at the ghost story, it's a great idea. It's a great basis for a film, isn't it? And filmmakers can go mental on it. But how much of it was actually documented in the first place? The slime. Is there any pictures of the slime?
Is there any slime? No. This is it. There's none.
Yeah, but
it's why it's always in a set.
That's the consistent thing that gets me with a lot of ghost stories, whether it's like friends telling me them or something like that. It's like there's just little things that you'd want to do, like you'd want to get some form of evidence. I get that it's scary, but I'd still want to sort of record it with a phone or something. Everyone's got a mobile phone, but no one's got any footage of these ghosts they see.
That's because ghosts stopped existing when mobile phones became commonplace. That's how it seems to be. I mean, now you can't fart in a museum without somebody putting the CCTV footage of a hot cloud coming out your ass. I'm sure you've all seen that. It's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think we might have to find that clip and try and put it in here.
The little love puff. Boop.
Yeah, a little love puff coming out at the end. You literally can't do that without it being seen. And I don't hear of ghost stories or hauntings ever happening now that you can film everything.
Yeah, that's not to say there's not video evidence out there. I mean all you got to do is put in ghost footage on YouTube or something like that, and you'll get thousands and thousands and thousands of videos.
Well, that's true.
But sometimes I like watching them and just trying to explain them, like just what I'm seeing. And like,
did you guys ever used to watch a program called Taps?
Yeah.
Well, they were paranormal activity investigators.
Yeah.
They went in there to disprove instead of prove.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen one episode where there was something that they could not explain.
Yeah. That, to be honest,
I can't remember it.
I can't remember what the program's called. It wasn't called Taps. That was their organisation called. That's what their organisation was. Was it Ghost Hunters or something like that? But
I've heard of Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, but they were. I mean, that I used to enjoy watching, because stuff that would probably creep out your average person. You know, they've obviously done their science behind it, and they can sort of explain away pretty much everything, and it's just fascinating watching them do it.
And they put cameras that have different, see different light spectrums and stuff like that, heat vision and everything, infrared, and all that lot. And they'll put them like all clustered together, so they all looking at the same area, sort of thing. And it was something to do with a set of stairs that they could not explain why. I think it was on the thermal camera. It was a black mass coming down the stairs, but if you looked from the other cameras, there was nothing. But there was nothing. There was no one by the stairs, because the other film, the people that were actually inside were at the other side of the building, and the others were sat outside in the van, making sure that the perimeter was kept.
But still, saying that, we are taking for granted that what we're watching isn't all completely staged. You know, we're there like, oh my god, there's yeah. I mean, Most Haunted. I don't think I've ever watched that like without humour, if that makes sense.
Oh, I've watched that just for a laugh.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I watched that when I was living with somebody who believed it to be real, and like Derek Okora with his spirit guide Sam. I mean, his career ended pretty fucking quickly after that came out.
Dick. Fanny needs dick.
Taps was Ghost Hunters. That's what it was called as a TV series.
Do you know, I have seen the show. I didn't know they were called Taps, but yeah.
Yeah, Jason Hawes was the lead guy in it. I follow him on Twitter. He's quite good.
Ooh, you love it, don't you? I love a bit of Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Like I say, I mean, I'm really interested in it, and I'm waiting. I cannot wait for the one day that I see a video, and it's not just furniture falling over and towards a suspiciously off-camera area or something like that. When I see the video, that sends chills down my spine, and I think like that, there is no way that's not real. I'm dying for that moment, but until then, I'll just watch all this shit and disprove it to myself.
No, fair enough. I've seen a lot of creepy videos, but I mean, it's one of those things that you can, with the magic of editing, you can do quite a lot these days. So everything I see now, I take with a bigger pinch of salt. But you know, it doesn't mean I don't enjoy watching them. Who doesn't love a good scare? You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's...
Okay then. What's your favourite paranormal film?
Ooh. Now, when you say favourite, do you mean favourite or what one shit you up the most?
Go for both. Your favourite and the one that shit you up the most, if it's the same film.
Well, I've already said Paranormal Activity shit me up the most. That really fucking scared the hell out of me. But at the time, I did used to smoke quite a lot of weed, so that definitely didn't happen. You know, young, mid-20s, just fucking high and unable to sleep. I quite liked that Haunting on Hill House TV show that was on Netflix.
Very good. Yeah.
Ooh, turn that off a couple of times. That fucking growler thing at the bottom of your bed. Oh my God.
Can I just say a little bit of trivia on that? I don't know if you noticed at the time, but throughout that series, I think there's something like 123 hidden ghosts.
Yeah.
Like every episode has got ghosts which don't have any impact on the storyline. They're just watching, or they're stood in the background, reflections in the mirror, something like that.
Yeah.
But I love shit like that. Easter eggs in a series.
It was when the dad said to the eldest son who went to disprove everything, he's like, you saw loads of ghosts. I never once had that clock fixed. And they was like, you said you walked past the clock fixer. He's like, you saw shitloads and you just didn't realise.
Yeah.
That was a creepy TV series. I couldn't watch that all in one. I had to watch that slowly because it shit me right up.
Yeah, that was very good, actually. I might have to rewatch that because that was cracking. I do love a good ghost story.
Apparently, a season 2's coming out, and not a lot of it made sense either. You know, like the guy with the top hat, big tall chap.
Yeah.
What's his deal?
I don't know. He's just fucking haunting the place, isn't it?
Yeah, we weren't just haunting the place, was he? He was haunting that junkie in the streets.
Well, maybe that's one of his own personal. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, I'm just saying.
Jesus, too hot for that sort of shit.
Keep yourself cooling spray, mate. That's what you want. Little mistings.
I'd say film-wise for me, it would be a film. It's probably 1970s again, called The Changeling. And I'm not talking about the new one with what's her name, Angelina Jolie. New one. No, it's an old film from the 70s. And it was about a guy who inherits a house. I haven't seen it in ages, but I just remember it being fucking terrifying. A guy inherits a house, blah, blah, blah. And the house is basically haunted by the ghost of this disabled boy who was kept up in the attic. Looking at you, Jeeves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had this sort of really weird moulded plastic wheelchair that was just left up there, and it was all the classic scares like the wheelchair moving slightly and all that. But the bit that cemented it for me was throughout the film he keeps finding this ball just lying around and all of this like little kid's ball.
Yeah.
There's a part of the film where he's sat at the bottom of the stairs and he just hears doof, 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 doof. And the ball comes bouncing all the way down the stairs, and it's like a 3-floor house, and just sort of rolls to his feet, and he loses his shit, right? He picks the ball up, gets in the car, drives to the cliff, just fucking launches it into the sea, comes back. As he opens the door, you hear this doof, doof, doof.
Oh.
The same ball just rolls down to where it was. And I remember that just shit me right out. That was me done.
I've only ever had one film give me nightmares, and it's not even a horror film.
Go on then.
That was Starship Troopers.
What?
I was really young at the time.
That's the funniest movie ever.
I watched it the first time, absolutely fine. Second time, I had nightmares.
Oh my God.
But my favourite ghost films, I've got two. One is 13 Ghosts.
Great movie. Yeah, good movie that.
And the other one, I can't remember the actual name of it. I think Zach would know it. It's a World War One bunker trench.
Oh, I know that film. It's got...
And depending on what you do in the trench, depends on whether you get the trench kills you.
I've seen that. Isn't it called the bunker or the outpost or something like that?
Or the
trench.
The barbed wire comes out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got Nick from My Family in it. That means nothing to you, but I'm literally going to Google it. Or I assume you're Googling it at the moment, Jeeves. Is that right? No?
He's just stuffing his face with popcorn.
Yeah, Death Watch is the one that I think you're talking about, Jeeves.
Yeah, that's it, Death Watch.
Yeah. So that was a cool movie. But, also had to Google it. So, can't be that great.
Yeah.
Now, made in 2002.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Doesn't seem that long ago.
No, it doesn't, does it? 18 years ago. Jesus.
Ugh. Okay, right.
Anyway,
one more. It's not to do with ghosts, but it's a paranormal one, but I loved it. Dog Soldiers.
Oh, great one. That's werewolves, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll keep that for the cryptozoology bit.
Yeah, that is a brilliant movie.
Yeah.
Hasn't got Kevin Costner
One
in it.
scene that sticks in my head is the cow.
Yeah, and they do exactly what I would do. I think that's one of the reasons I like that movie. If a cow just fell off of a cliff in front of me when I was having a fire, I would definitely get myself a steak. Hands down.
I mean, you're kind of honouring the cow, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how much of the cow you could eat, really.
Oh, I reckon I could eat quite a lot of it.
Yeah, I bet you could.
It'd be good training for you.
And it will start at the ring piece.
Yeah, like a dog does.
You've got to start somewhere.
Dearie me. Someone messaged me earlier and they said, if you had to eat a human, a bit of a human, which bit would you eat?
Is that a question to us?
Yes, it is.
Can I answer for Andy?
No,
you can answer for you.
The lip.
The lip?
Yeah, why not?
Ribs. I'd have to
No,
go for
cheek.
ribs.
Cheek.
Cheek?
Yeah, because I reckon that'd be kind of like, ooh, yeah, I reckon that'd be all right. Yeah, cheek. Bit of cheek.
Spare ribs.
Yeah, I said I'd go for the ass.
Sauce.
Nice rump. I'd do it slowly in a slow cooker. A solid 12 hours, make a pulled ass as opposed to pulled pork. Because
what is it? It's like the more the muscle works, the tougher a steak it will give out. So, I'd have a steak off my left arm. That never does any work. My right arm would be like eating leather, be like eating a shoe tongue.
Your left arm would be like a veal.
A fillet.
Oh,
why do we keep coming back to cannibalism as well?
Oh, it's just that people just like talking about it, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, ghost stuff. I don't really have anything much else to talk about on the ghost front. I mean, I'd love to go on one of those ghost walk talk things, but I've never done one. Have you?
No. No, I haven't. I mean, I've been on a tour of London where they've sort of introduced ghost stuff and things like that, but not specific ghost walks. No.
It always just seems to me that ghost walks are just basically a tour around the city late at night.
It's theatrics again, isn't it? It's playing on people's senses to make them feel uneasy, and the more uneasy they feel, the more authentic the ghost tour feels.
Yeah.
You know, like I could take you to anywhere on the Isle of Wight and be like, this is the exact spot where a highwayman got brutally murdered like a couple of 100 years. Well, maybe not you, but the average person. And you know, if I was describing it in the right way, you'd automatically start feeling uneasy. You know, because I'm telling you, you should be feeling uneasy just without saying those words. You know, it's quite easy to do. Particularly
if you've got a group of people working with you that can set up a smoke machine as you're walking up an alleyway, or ringing a bell. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead.
One of my brothers actually did a Blair Witch Project film with Appledockham House.
Okay.
I can't remember what actually happened, but my brother did run from that place. All of them did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the woods are a creepy place to be late at night. I mean, it's as much as I love camping and being outdoors, the woods becomes a very different entity when it's the middle of the night.
Yeah. And you have to take into account the human brain's inability to process information that it doesn't understand. You know, rather than you hear a noise, rather than trying to work out what the noise is, your brain will just attribute it to something you should probably be scared of as a defense mechanism, you know?
Yeah.
But I've always thought if you go out, you can't trust your senses. If you go out looking for a ghost, you're going to find one. All right. If you're a ghost hunter and you go to a place wanting to find a ghost, you'll find one, because at some point your brain will tell you, oh, that noise isn't supposed to be there. What was it? It sounded a bit like a footstep, you know? Yeah. And this is how people convince themselves. I mean, I'm not saying that everyone does. I'm just saying that a lot of people who go out expecting to find a ghost will come back with some story of something creepy that happened while they were doing it. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, but it's always a certain type of people, isn't it? People who, you know, are quite heavy into healing crystals have usually had a fucking ghosty experience at some point in their life.
Yeah.
We should have got Sophie in on this one.
Well, yeah, she's quite spiritual. Yeah, but it's funny you should say that with regards to certain type of people, because if you look at the statistics for the majority of poltergeist cases, the majority of them affect in some way a girl going through puberty. But that's not saying that they are the main culprit, but normally somewhere in the close family group there is a girl going through puberty, even if she's not the one being affected, right? And that's in itself asks probably more questions than it answers, if you know what I mean, because there's got to be a reason for it. But why?
I have no. I don't even know what how to comment on that. I mean, you're probably right, but yeah, but it's strange. And just to delve off again, I don't know if you've ever heard of a quasi-corporeal companion. No.
It's basically an imaginary friend. It's a scientific term for an imaginary friend, right? Kids all around the world have imaginary friends, yeah? Yeah, a massive study into them has shown that no matter where in the world, every single child, without fail, their imaginary friend will fall into one of 4 categories.
Oh, this is interesting. Go on then.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to remember the categories, but I'm not going to be able to. But I know one of them was like
two. I bet I can guess 2. Okay.
Go on.
A male or a female.
No, they're slightly more specific than that. But there's one like trees. Like trees is one of them. I'm pretty sure. A lot of kids, their imaginary. You're right there, Jeeves.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's looking at stuff. He's been preening, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. So one of them was trees. Like a large portion of the country's or the world's children have trees as imaginary friends. But they all sort of there is 4 categories, and you look it up if you're interested in it. But it just strikes me as interesting that everyone should fall into that category. Regardless of where they are, what culture. Why is that? Is that the human brain at play? And maybe there's 4 different areas of the brain which will affect how your imaginary friend turns out? Or is there something paranormal about it? You know, do they actually exist to guide us through our childhood years? Who knows?
I saw Drop Dead Fred as a youth, and I wanted an imaginary friend like Drop Dead Fred so badly. Never had an imaginary friend. Yeah.
No, I never had an imaginary friend. Jeeves?
No. No, I never had one.
Would you admit it if you did, though?
Yeah.
Okay. It was a tree.
Yeah, I mean, that would be shit, though, wouldn't it? Does it go round with you, this tree? Is it a mobile tree? Does it walk like an ent?
Like an ent,
say like an ent.
Yeah, or do you just have to go back to the same place to talk to your imaginary friend? If so, that's a poor choice, isn't it?
It is a bit.
You know, what if you get stranded and your imaginary tree is the only source of firewood? Are you allowed to cut into it?
I'd hope so.
God bless you, Samuel. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be Sam. No, you're cutting down your imaginary friend Samuel to cook your friend Sam. Brilliant.
I'd be glad you're so resourceful, mate.
Well, it's true. Like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but I'm just saying it's funny how certain groups appear to be haunted by certain things. But on the flip side of that, why do certain ghost stories from around the world, or more specifically probably demons or something like that, but the demons of the Bible, there's specific demons that have an awful lot in common with the demons of ancient Egypt and the demons of ancient China and stuff like that. Yeah. And at the time, they wouldn't have been properly communicating, I doubt, enough for that sort of folklore to carry over. So how does that explained away?
No, but that's interesting because it's the same with regards to religion, isn't it? The overall message of religion. It's not how religion, the overall message of religion is generally love thy neighbour, do unto others as you want unto yourself. Across the board, it doesn't matter what religion you are, the overall message is generally that, isn't it?
Mm.
Be kind. Some, don't eat pig because they didn't have refrigeration.
Be peaceful.
Be peaceful, love thy neighbour, don't steal, don't do crimes. All of those kind of things translate across the board, which, again, is another weird one. Oh, pardon me. So I don't know, maybe it's acid. The burning bush?
Yeah.
So there's a school of thoughts that Moses and the burning bush, the bush that caught on fire was one of those ones that if you eat the resin from it, or consume the resin, I suppose, smoke the resin, I think it's something, it sounds a bit like acacia tree, but I'm not 100% sure if that's right. So we'll say it is.
That's how it works.
Yeah, there's a school of thought that bush, in an arid place, there's every possibility that it could have caught fire, maybe lightning, maybe just, a freak occurrence. It's super hot. And if it was one of those ones that had that psilocybin, I don't know, I'm not very clued up on hallucinogens. If it had actually caught fire and been a burning bush, and then Moses, whilst up there trying to, have an epiphany from God, was near it and inhaled the flames, he would have actually gone on a major trip.
Mm.
And would have seen things, because I've never been on a trip. I've never taken acid. I've had mushrooms, but I've never tripped on mushrooms or any of that. I've not done ayahuasca. It's the same compound as ayahuasca. The stuff that the Indians use to have their vision quest.
Peyote or whatever it is.
Peyote.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that stuff. Same area as that.
Mm.
It had that bush caught on fire. The fumes, if he had inhaled them, he would have had a peyote trip. Which, I mean, people talk about seeing different dimensions and things like that in that, don't they?
The amount of religions where that sort of smoking, that sort of thing, was seen as a gateway to the gods. Seen as a gateway to the other realms where you could speak to ancestors and shit like that. I mean, obviously they're just tripping bollocks.
Can I just say something? So I've gone onto Google to type in there, what are the 4 types of imaginary friends?
Yeah.
You know how Google does the suggested off of popular searches?
Yeah.
One of them is, how do I make my imaginary friend real?
Wow.
Just thought I'd put that in there.
What are the 4 types though, Jeeves?
It's not giving me 4 types. I found 3, but that was a really weird one, so I just ignored that.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up and
screenshot it, send it over, and I'll pop it in post.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
We'll do now. And also, can you look up the trees and Moses, the burning bush and Moses? Because I'm sure it's something. I can hear it in my head, and I'm sure it starts with a P, and it sounds like the word coyote. Yeah, I know. Don't. It's 87% spastic here, people.
Peyote.
Yeah, I think, but I'm not sure that's right because it doesn't sound like a real word, does it?
Were we not just talking about that?
Well, I mentioned it, but I'm not 100% sure it's accurate. That's the problem.
Oh, right.
I'm sure that the bush that caught fire was a hallucinogen.
Right.
Which would explain everything.
An awful lot. Yeah.
But also, if you came out with 7 commandments, and 10 commandments. 10 commandments is 7 tenements. If getting that wasted makes you come out, and they're the rules that you come out with, you're like, I've had an epiphany, we should live by these 10 separate rules, surely everybody should be getting wankered like that.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's the mindset you're in at the time.
Well, that's true.
I mean, if he's just been ditched by his missus or something like that, his 10 commandments could be very different. Like, women are all pigs, snakes with tits, burn them all.
Yeah.
It could have been very different.
The old rules. That's the Old Testament, that stuff, isn't it?
I mean, I'd possibly be a bit more selfish than that. It's like the 10 commandments, like, you've got to give me a certain amount of money every month. Like, bring me food, wax my head, that
you
sort of thing.
Specifically.
Yeah,
thou shalt feed a mushu. And hark, the man heralded from the skies named Andy doth deserve thy food.
I think that's it's got a ring to it. You can't deny it.
Oh God! And thou nameth Sam shall be sacrificed upon the altar for him to devour his flesh.
Oh yeah, it could be like a yearly tradition. The sacrificial Sam comes out. We just put a U mask on a goat.
Oh, brilliant. To be a tree deer. Oh no, a sheep deer.
A sheep deer.
Oh God!
Right. Well,
yeah.
Apparently, the type of burning, the bush that apparently was the one that burnt, is not the same as peyote.
Oh.
I mean, he could have just had a toot on his crack pipe before he went up the mountain. We never know.
He's just been burning some glass, hasn't he? He's cooking meth this time.
That's why he was up the mountain. He's just sneaked out for a quick doobie. So just go and stretch my legs.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, what about witches? I am changing the subject slightly away from Jesus LSD.
I think that would come under crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're saving
I believe in witches.
Yeah, we'll save it for the next one. We'll do cryptos the next episode, and we'll talk about all of them.
Yeah.
You met my ex, didn't you, Andy?
Fly, my pretties. Isn't she on the mainland now?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Which one?
They all run away.
I guess. Well, I'll tell you what. We've talked about ghosts and stuff like that quite a lot. Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel it's been a bit one-sided though, like in terms of the general disbelief of it. If you're watching it and you do believe in ghosts, by no means do we mean to belittle you or anything like that.
He doesn't.
But if you do, check out a very good friend of mine's Facebook page. It's called Paranormal Afterlife. Guy called Grant McCleary. He's got some exciting things in the works, which even for someone that's struggling, I'm very keen to see. But check him out. Check out his page. Do it.
Oh, is he a bit of an expert?
He's an ex-paranormal investigator. He's quite into his gadgets and stuff like that in order to capture stuff. And he's got quite a few videos up of stuff.
Is it likely that he might actually have evidence?
Pass. Is it evidence that I would consider evidence? I'm not sure. I mean, he's got a lot of videos up there, and there's a lot of people following him that think that it is evidence. So
we should revisit this and then invite him on.
Oh, that's
exactly my thinking. Yeah, what a great idea.
And possibly, if anyone gets in the comments and says that they are a believer, possibly seeing about getting them on as well.
I like that as well.
Yeah, hell yeah, why not? Yeah, if you've got, or if you've just got a wealth of knowledge about the subject and you want to educate some of our fucking stupid asses, then drop a comment in and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah, because I am a skeptic, but I'm open-minded. I believe in science, so if there's proof, I'm quite happy to examine it.
Absolutely.
I'd like to be proven wrong. I mean, it's in my nature that if somebody is there and they are that adamant and they're that passionate and eloquent about it and they have actual documentation to back it up that isn't just on a little girl's pad piece of paper like I have here, please get in contact and let us know, because I'm quite happy to revisit this subject. I mean, it's a cool subject matter. There's loads to go with it, and none of us really have any experience in the subject, do we?
A little bit. I'd like to think, but
I say none of us. I mean me.
I was going to say, Jeeves is a believer. You know, yeah, whatever.
You're sitting on the fence.
You've done a 180. You're a full unbeliever now after hearing.
No, not at all. I still maintain that. I want to believe, but I don't at the moment.
No, fair enough.
But this is why someone like Grant on the show would be great, because I'm sure he's got a lot of anecdotal evidence. I'm sure he's got a lot of video evidence. I'm sure he's got a lot of stuff that he's willing to put forward. And if not, he's probably quite happy to call us out on bullshit as well, which is always good. And he's got an epic beard, it has to be said. Yeah, he'll fit in with at least two of us. Right. Do we want to mention the other thing?
What's the other thing?
The other competition we were planning on.
Ooh, yeah, we do want to mention the other competition. We've got a guy in our midst who could enter himself as well.
Well, yeah, we have actually, yeah.
We have. I hadn't even thought of him. Jeez, we are going to run a little competition for all you arty types out there to give us a T-shirt design for some official Pacifist podcast merch. So what we would really like is any of you who have listened to the episodes and have picked up anything that we might have said over the months, you know, dirt berries, for instance, something along those lines, that if you could draw an amazing sketch that we could get printed onto a T-shirt and get printed.
You've done it again. You've done it again.
What?
I don't care if it's amazing or not. It could be dog shit. It doesn't matter. If you're watching and you want to submit an entry, please do. It doesn't matter about your artistic ability or anything like that. You can submit one to pacifistpodcast@outlook.com. You can do it on a Facebook page, drop it in a private message on Facebook, or you can do it via YouTube if that's a thing.
There'll be a link to the email address below the video, though.
Yeah.
So just easy
and the stakes are incredible. The winner will be picked by us, obviously, because we're the judges. It's our competition. And their design will be the flagship design for the new merchandise store. And they'll get a free version of that T-shirt. Is that right, Sam?
You sound like you said free-ish.
Well, it'll be free for them, but I've got a sneaky suspicion me and Mooshie will be paying for it.
Well, you've got to add some kind of incentive. You've got to add some kind of incentive.
The worst thing is, I've got such an amazing idea, but I have the artistic flair of a slug with a crayon. So it's so annoying. So, Jeeves, me and you are going to have a conversation, mate. I want you to see if you can draw me something.
No, you've got to draw your own thing. I'll draw my own design.
We're all going to draw our own, are we?
Yeah, we can all draw our own design for a T-shirt, and we can enter as well. Obviously, we can't win it, though, but give some people some ideas. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, well, I've got a fantastic idea, like, genuinely. Yeah, I think it'll be fantastic.
Wicked. Right, so...
Oh, look at his Jesus' comb over, getting caught in the wind.
That's like Donald Trump.
Oh my God, it's Jesus in the 80s. Makes his head look really long and cylindrical, doesn't it?
Jesus Carey.
He's going to come through the TV any minute now.
Oh, please don't. Right. Well, on that exciting note, and you will be hearing a lot more about that as it gets set up. We're going to be banging on mercilessly. In fact, it's going to end up just one massive advert for the pod shop, isn't it?
The pod shop, exactly that. But yeah.
So I'm going to sign off now, being a sweaty mess. Goodbye, and I'm sure it's goodbye from Sam.
It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
Hey, Jeeves.
Oh, Jeeves.
What do we like people to do?
Come round with a nice bucket of water.
No.
I'll take that right now.
Guess again.
Subscribe and like.
Excellent. Can I suggest one more thing? Tell your friends.
Oh, toodaloo.